And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Lakers weekend, everyone. Closing out a Lakers weekend. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you for the Lakers Fast Break Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week. Twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode, we are going to be covering the NBA draft. If you didn't catch our show earlier today on all the Lakers Fast Break outlets with Stone Hansen, I will play an hour of it on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus, Josh and I are going to come by later this week and talk about the disappointing returns for Pixar's latest movie, Elio, how 28 years later did. He says he has a rant on Assassin's Creed and more. Plus, later in the week, we will also have a good conversation between John Orlando and I as he comes back to go ahead and discuss the world of pro wrestling as only he can, right here for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos, indeed. Congrats to OKC, but Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is in here. Yo, go ahead and check out what he's doing each and every time out. I know he had a stream of the game while it was going on. Plus, he has some great 2K streams as well. DBSH, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe. Also, as well, the Lakerholics crew. Of course, Stone Hansen at report_court on Twitter. And then also, of course, Stone Hansen out there on Blue Sky. Go ahead and follow him as we cover the NBA draft. Don't forget, Tuesday, we've got an NBA mock draft for you coming up. I don't know who exactly is going to be there just yet to go ahead and take over some of the teams. If you're interested, again, I put the call out. Hit me up, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Go ahead and hit me up if you're interested in running some teams for the Tuesday mock draft as well. DBSH says KD trade, great trade for Houston. Absolutely for Phoenix. Your mileage may vary on that one, and we'll discuss that here on the show as well. Plus, also want to go ahead and give a shout out to John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Want to go ahead and give a shout out to Empire Jeff TV, covering the Lakers and Dodgers and more. Go ahead and check out all these great places, all these great things. Like and subscribe, and make sure you like and subscribe to go ahead and make sure you get the latest notifications on what's going on with the Lakers and all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. So I thought I'd stop by. The season has ended. Tuff's asking, what numbers are Lakers drafting at? Same one they did last year, 55. But Tuff, don't worry. We cannot draft a descendant of LeBron James in this year's draft with number 55. But that I'm grateful for, because number 55 won't be a James. I'm pretty sure of that, unless there's a. Oh, hold on. I don't want to say that too soon, because they might get somebody named like Ricardo James or Alexander James or something like that. I'm going to make sure there's not someone in the top 100 for this year's draft. But here today, good man indeed. He is the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by. Late night, stop on by for him. He is going to be part of our NBA mock draft. I know you get Toronto. You're going to get a lot of teams, my friend. But as soon as I send that email, trade offers start then. Okay. So if you got some trade offers over the next 36 hours or so to other GMs, and I will clearly point out which teams you're responsible for, I'm responsible for, John's responsible for, and Legend's responsible for. Stone cannot be there the whole time. He just informed me, so I'm going to take away some teams from him. He'll just be there as a advisor, I guess, for the first hour, so to speak. So okay, we'll see what happens. But yes, trade offers done, because I don't want the first hour and a half filled up with trade proposals. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say, if we could get most of that done beforehand, and then the first 10, 15 minutes, any outsiding trades before we get into draft. Of course, you could do some trades along the way if something hits you. I obviously will let you do that, but I want to get most of the stuff out of the way beforehand so we could go ahead and just go through this 2 rounds of the draft on that. So Again, it is Magic Man Sean Grice. Sean, great to have you here. I guess we got to talk off first and foremost. Congratulations to OKC. They did it today. Uh, man, for some people, he's out there. Nick, your guy Halliburton, you saw. I did. I thought it was the calf. I really thought it was the calf because he pushed off with his toe. If you could see how he did it, he didn't do it heel toe like that. He pushed off straight off his toes. But we found out later that's usually a telltale sign of the Achilles issue when you do that, which we've seen before in recent weeks as well. When you push off with the toes, you're at high risk of damaging that Achilles. So now he's got a calf strain and an Achilles problem he has to worry about. But that was just the thing. No excuse. They were still leading at the half, but late in that third quarter, we were always worried about when OKC would go on that next big run. They did, and that was just enough to get them the title.
Absolutely, Gerald. And just as I think a lot of us thought it would unfold that way, regardless of Halliburton's injury. But I mean, we'll never know one way or the other. There, I like you said, I thought they were playing pretty efficient ball with T.J. McConnell and Andrew Nemhard as their primary ball handlers. But like you said, Gerald, it at some point in time, the run comes from OKC. It almost feels like I've described it before. It almost feels like a boa constrictor around your whole body, just suffocating the life out of you very slowly. And that's what it felt like. It felt like just a slow drip. Like you said, Gerald, after the half was over, it felt like for whatever reason, Indiana's will just was completely sapped after half, Joe. I think they were playing with a lot of momentum, and the break just killed it, just stomped it right in its tracks, and OKC was able to regroup on the other side. And I mean, my goodness, Gerald, I can't think of a more adding literally and figuratively, my friend, adding insult to injury to a squad that loses a game 7 in the NBA Finals and you lose your best player in the first half to a season-ending Achilles injury and completely this topsy-turvy Eastern Conference next year, Gerald. I mean, who knows? Gerald? Orlando Magic might be the number 1 seed in the playoffs next year.
I doubted that after the Desmond Bain trade. I was talking to Alfred earlier last week. I may change my mind now because just by the rule of attrition, Magic Man, the healthiest team in the East wins. Yay!
Oh my gosh. This is just getting brutal, Gerald. I'm sure they're pulling their hair out. The TV executives are with a lot of these big stars succumbing to injuries this late in the playoffs because that's a whole season and probably as we know, Gerald, that it's not necessarily dependent on age. This is an injury that usually takes a full 2 years to recover from.
Absolutely. But you said after the halftime break, there's an adjustment Mark Dagnall made at halftime coming out for the second half. I wonder if you noticed what it is. It reminds me of the time that Mark Jackson was criticizing Frank Vogel for a change he made in game 6 just before tip off. I wonder what that was, Magic Man. I wonder what that was.
He utilized Alex Caruso in a new and creative way defensively when he saw that there was a little bit of weakness in the Pacers' game plan, Gerald. And yeah, I mean, Caruso was a difference maker in that third quarter. I mean, this is why you pay a guy like that $20 million.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
and by the way, just to be fair, and I'm not. We all loved what Alex Caruso did for us. I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, but $20 million for what he does is cheap, Gerald. It's cheap in the
Yeah, it doesn't
NBA.
look like it in the scoreboard or in the stats, but what he gives you in between the lines, especially when you need it the most, is exactly what he's being paid for. He's not paid for what he does or what you think he might do in the 43rd game of the season. He is paid for what he's doing in the 103rd game of the season, which, give or take, was tonight. And he definitely helped get it done. SGA had a terrible shooting game, but was still able to go ahead and get to the line, do his thing, get his points, and he walked away with the MVP. Still, I say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Heading into next season, I don't think it's just the Eastern Conference that's up for grabs. I seriously think while maybe OKC has still got another 60-win team in place, seeing what I saw and how they barely got by the Indiana Pacers, how they barely got by the Denver Nuggets, I really think that this NBA upcoming season, a lot of it will be detailed on what teams do to build up their teams this summer.
100%, Gerald. 100%. Because you saw it in this game, Gerald. You saw it in the game. Dagnall really only went to really 8 guys, and really it was more 7. He played his starters, and then he played Hartenstein and Caruso off the bench with a little bit of Isaiah Joe mixed in there. But the fact is, Gerald, is that all 15 guys on the Thunder roster are under contract for next year. That's how spoiled the Thunder are right now.
Exactly. And they have 2 draft picks. They have 2 first-round draft picks on top of that for this one.
Right. So we can obviously expect, and this is just a little teaser for the draft special coming up, Gerald. But I think Sam Presti is going to do the optimal move and have a draft and stash in one of those picks in the first round.
Or he may kick the can down the road even more. I know he's got a lot of first-round picks that he still has bundled up for the years in advance, but he might take those 2 picks and trade it in for a higher pick in the 26, 27, or 28 draft. We'll have to wait and see. But I may just give you OKC among one of your teams for the mock draft. So you will be Sam Presti on Tuesday, so we'll find out. But you know what? He can say what he wants, Fluent, if you're saying that he said that. But we'll have to wait and see if that's
and Gerald, we've already seen it with the move made today. The Houston Rockets got Kevin Durant for one reason and one reason only. That's if they see OKC in the playoffs, they have an offensive player that, honestly, Gerald, if you look up and down the Thunder roster, and it's a very formidable roster, a championship roster, they really don't have a guy they can put on KD to defend him in a 7-game series. And I think if you add that element into already a young team, and by the way, Gerald, as both of us speculated, they didn't have to give up Reed Shepherd. They didn't have to give up Tariq Eason. They didn't even have to give up Cam Whitmore, Gerald. And they got Kevin Durant.
That's another thing I want to mention earlier. If you didn't hear Stone and I earlier today, Kevin Durant was traded to the Houston Rockets for Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft upcoming here on Wednesday, and then also as well 5 second-round picks. Whatever he said, if as far as Fluent and Chill, it doesn't really bother me with regards to Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso can do anything or say anything he wants. He still gets free food and free drinks anytime he's in LA for what he did for the Los Angeles Lakers. Whether or not he regards it as a real one or a fake one doesn't matter to us at all, Fluent and Chill, because it still counts just as much the same. Just like a lot of people will say this is a fake one because Halliburton got injured. People will always make excuses for title race. It still counts. You have to deal with it if you're not a Lakers fan. Oh, well, if it was your team that won in the bubble, you would be defending it too. All I'll say is this: Alex Caruso has every right to be a little bit testy because of the way he was discarded for THT. He can say or do anything he wants to the Lakers organization. They treated him like crap on the way out when he wanted a discount. He said he would take a hometown discount. and the Lakers still blew him off. Rob Pelinka still blew him off to go ahead and pick THT. That and what has happened since? THT can barely make an NBA roster. And guess what? Alex Caruso is picking up another ring. Sean, you're on mute. I got you. Go ahead. You got you.
Absolutely, Gerald. Well said. And for goodness sake, he was willing to take a home team discount, Gerald. He was willing to take less than $10 million a year.
You
And
know
the
what, Fluent?
Lakers.
I don't care if they're on wheelchairs. I don't care if they're on crutches. I don't care if they have to stretcher them in on a gurney. As long as it's you get that trophy at the end of the day, still counts to us, baby.
It still counts.
Sorry, Fluent.
Yeah, it still counts.
Sorry, Fluent. It still counts.
So I mean, Gerald, amazingly, Caruso doubled his worth in about less than 5 years. He went from making oh my gosh, Gerald, what was that original contract? Was it about like 833,000 or something? And now he's gone up to about 20 million. So
more power to him. More power to him. And I'm sorry to say this to our good friend Mark out in Australia, Xbox. Love you, buddy. But looks like Chicago Bulls got smoked on that trade too. Sorry.
Oh.
I mean, now you got to deal with Josh Giddey, who's played well, but he's played well for a regular season team. Alex Caruso has played well for a championship team once again, and it's just
and Gerald, by the way, if Josh Giddey doesn't hit that 3 at the end of the Laker game, the Bulls actually end up winning that pick, Gerald, because they wouldn't have.
That's right.
They would have to do a coin flip with the Dallas Mavericks. For God's sakes.
Absolutely. If you got to be pumped as well, if you're Josh Giddey, because you got traded and discarded because you have some certain things in your game that didn't fit well with OKC, but you know what? OKC, they're the champions now, but they're not a dominant champion by any stretch of the imagination. And I can see that these teams will be loading up, and we saw that earlier today with Houston and Kevin Durant. So I'm excited to see what's going to take place over the next few days, weeks, and maybe even months. But I do feel that this is the summer of NBA trades because there's really, if you can count Detroit, they can free up some cap space that gets them, I think about close to 20 million in cap space. But a team that could get close to 60 million in cap space is Brooklyn. So they've got plenty of options. You either could take bad contracts and get a whole bunch of assets on top of it, or you could go ahead and reach out to potential free agents as well. So I believe they're in the proverbial catbird seat as far as what they can do to drive this summer, as far as some of the NBA trades are out there. But otherwise, there's going to be a lot of talk. I know Joe Soro mentioned earlier. Joe, if you want to hop on, it's up to you, my friend. Joe mentioned that allegedly, and this rumors and allegedly, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have already talked to Danny Ainge while he's on the golf course and said, you know what, we want to make a deal for Kessler. I'm sure that's happened. Whether or not you want to say allegedly, that's fine.
So for Joe, it's been alleged. It's been alleged.
Yeah, that's weird that Joe actually goes there. He usually tries to avoid the.
He doesn't. He usually go there with alleged.
But I do agree with him in the sense that it's common sense that if the Lakers are trying to get a big man, that's obviously one of the options that you probably already made calls on. I would assume Portland. I would assume some other places as well that they've inquired about. Let me ask you this. Joe and I went back and forth during the game on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And thank you, everyone, for watching on Playback. In regards to this, the Lakers don't have too many assets, but they've got one particular asset that could be attractive in the trade now that could potentially walk as a free agent this time next summer. I'm talking about, of course, you could talk about Rui Hachimura, but you could also talk about Reeves as our number one trade asset. moving forward. And the reason why I still am harping on this is because the Lakers, whether or not you do or do not like LeBron, again, that's totally up to you. Taking out 50 million in cap space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He still, I believe, can be a part of a winning team and a winning championship team if the team is built around him. It's a little bit harder. I get that, but it still can be done. And it can be done if the Lakers utilize their assets correctly. But I can't do the status quo thing like Joe. I don't think the status quo thing has worked. It will not work. It has not worked for 3 seasons now. I really think that Reeves is best off the bench in a 6-man role for a championship team. But the problem is, financially, it is not in his best interest right now to do it. Right now, he needs to stay a starter. He wants to be a starter and wants to intend to be a starter going forward. If not for financially, just the fact that for his own ego. So be that as it may, I really think the Lakers can get multiple assets, either a player and a pick in this upcoming draft or something different based on what you bundle up with. Your thoughts, my friend? I mean, these are just some dry runs before you start making some trade proposals down the road. But what are your thoughts on Austin Reeves or Rui Hachimura and or both being valuable trade assets in what could be a big summer of NBA trades?
I will gladly answer that question in just one moment, Gerald. But first, Fluent Chill, Joe Soro has asked you to send him the link where apparently Alex Caruso makes a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment about it. I saw it. Gerald's seen it. The rest of the world's seen it. He was laughing. He was having a joke about how sarcastic and silly the narrative is. But that's why you don't want to post it, because context matters.
Yeah. Again, he can say whatever he wants. He got dissed over by Rob, so he won us one. A championship. It's legit. I don't care whoever says it. They could say it till they're blue in the face. It was a legit championship. All these other teams in the bubble, had they won it, they would be trying to defend it as well. So, Alex Caruso can say whatever he wants, but it doesn't matter. After he really got dissed by Rob, he could really doesn't matter to me. He got us one. He got OKC one. And that's all that matters.
Well, and Gerald, it's down the road, but what also has transpired here is, a big piece of NBA history is coming back, and they don't have to have a shared history anymore. Because now that the Thunder have a championship, once the Sonics come back, it's their history. It should have always stayed the Seattle Supersonics history. It should have never been a shared history. I'm sorry. The way Clay Bennett went out and swooped this team in the dead of night and took them out, similar to what Art Modell did with the Cleveland Browns, Gerald. Now that the Thunder have won a championship, and credit to them, the Seattle Supersonics can now have their history back because it doesn't have to be shared anymore.
Absolutely, indeed. You have something on Tuesday. Man, that's a bummer because I really wanted you to run some teams on Tuesday. But I have 2 of the GMs here. Also got John Costa. If you want to run some teams for our NBA mock draft, we could really use more people involved in this. So please hit us up, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. But I have 2 NBA GMs right here for our Tuesday mocks draft. And it is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, great to have you here. Wanted to ask you this. We saw the culmination of the title tonight. Obviously, the unfortunate injury in the first half. I would assume by overcompensating for his calf strain, we saw the residual results. Now it looks like it's going to be even worse than just a calf tear or a calf strain. It's actually an Achilles for Halliburton. But you know what? You got to give him credit. He tried to gut it out. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. And it was OKC for the title, Legend.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it went down, but he got my respect. I respect him for what he did. to me, that's the heart of a champion that you went out there and did what you did, and hopefully a speedy recovery. But still, I think his team did good. The Pacers gave a good fight to that third quarter when the Oklahoma start pushing things away. But to me, Indiana had a good season, a good run. You have no reason to have your head down. Hold it up high. Going into next season. Next season is wide open. I mean, slap wide open. So they got a chance to get back.
But it's going to be a lot harder because Halliburton, that is the problem. Because if he did pop that Achilles, maybe in time for the playoffs, I mean, that's an outside chance that might happen. I know Tatum will be targeting the playoffs next season. Your thoughts? I mean, it is wide open, but without your, I'm not going to call him star player, but very good player, and Tyrese Halliburton, who can play at an all-star level at times, like he did at times during the playoff run. Obviously, replacing him is going to be hard to do.
It's definitely going to be a challenge with not having him, but as long as they keep that team, what they got together, to me, that team wins more when they're all clicking together. And that's, to me, maybe one positive thing going into losing Tyrese for a good bit of the season. As long as they stick together, do what they did, for the most part, they should be okay. Can't say you're going to be a top-seeded team, but you should be able to get into the playoff. It's the East. You should be able to get in the playoff, no problem. But teams like Orlando, you got a shot. This is it right here.
You do have a shot. This time last week, I still would have said it would have been harder unless they add another one or two pieces on the offensive end. I think Sean would agree with you. But now in a dilapidated East, it's anyone's ball game indeed.
Even my Hawks.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, hey, look, of all the guys coming back, Jalen Johnson, whew, that man can ball. So, if he's coming back healthy, yes, I agree 100%, Legend.
Also here today, good man indeed. It is our own Joe Soro of the Joe Soro YouTube channel, Corrupt on Steam, and also as well, of course, his company Simblades with a Y.com. Joe, I heard you going back and forth in regards to Alex Caruso. Again, I have no problems with Alex Caruso. He can say whatever he wants to say, whether he was joking, not joking. He got royally dissed by Rob, was it 3 years ago now? And if that's the case, after getting dissed over, wanting to take a hometown discount, still being sent to the curb, sent packing for THT, to me, he won us a championship. He can say anything he likes, Joe.
Well, that's not the point. The point is, where's the footage? And if you're not fluent in context or in sarcasm, then maybe you should shut up. I saw him with my own eyes brag about he had 2 fingers up. Okay. I saw that with my own eyes. 2 fingers up. If somebody doesn't think one of those championships is legit, why is he putting up 2 fingers? So you can go ahead and drop the index finger and look at the one that's left right now with that. That's my response to that. There is the issue with Indiana right now is it's not likely they're ever going to be back. I know that might hurt a lot of Indiana fans, but things have to go perfectly for them to get to here. They had to have a weak East, which is not, out of the realm there because it usually is. They don't really particularly have a out of this world superstar, and they just lost the one guy that is as close to a superstar that they have on the team. And while we think that this collective bargaining agreement is only going to hurt big market teams, it's actually not. It's going to hurt the smaller markets even more. And that's the part I feel bad for about Indiana, because Indiana is the mecca of basketball. That's the beginning, right? That's where it started. New York gets the credit, but Indiana is actually where basketball started, if you want to get technical. So I don't know what the future is there. As far as Oklahoma City is concerned, as long as Sam Presti's the GM there, they're always going to be competitive. When you win your first championship and you're the second youngest team since the 77 Blazers, you are kind of already ahead of the game a little bit. They could be something that can maybe be a little bit of a consistent title winner. But with the way the NBA is, you have to kind of wait that out. At least wait for them to win the second one before you can say that.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. I truly appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, Tuesday, it's the mock draft. I did just get Eric Kwan to go ahead, and he's going to be an NBA GM. Basically, I'm going to give these guys between 5 and 8 teams. I'll be running some teams as well. Stone will only be here for the first hour, so I don't know how much I can give him put on his plate for the mock draft. But Legend, I've got Sean, and I've got John, and I've got Eric going to be GMs. If you want to be a GM, please email me ASAP because we can go ahead and get this thing going. Because trade offers, again, they will start as soon as I send that email out on the rules and the teams that you're responsible for. Eric, if there's any specialized teams that you want, like for instance, Legend is going to have among his teams Golden State and Atlanta. Magic Man will have Toronto, OKC. John, I think I'm going to give him, like, since he's from in that area, Sacramento. Give him some other teams as well. And then if you want some other specific teams that you're thinking about, let me know, Eric. Lakers, I still haven't figured out which one of us is going to get the Lakers yet, but we'll see. Whoever, it's probably going to be someone that's going to be looking into making a trade. So that's probably what I'm going to probably do for that one, but we'll see. I'll be running some teams. We'll have a good time. Every year we do it. We usually have a good time. I remember, of course, Sean has been part of one. Legend has been part of one. Very creative with Laker Tom, I believe it was last year that he did it. So yeah, great time indeed. It is our NBA mock draft Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Dan Inspiration, email me at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com and we'll get you started as well. I will type up an official email on little rules and stuff like that here after the show takes place overnight. So,
Gerald,
yes.
before we wrap up what we thought about the finals, I just want to state I thought Miles Turner played his worst game as considered a clutch 3 center. You need to come out with a certain amount of, I would say, intensity. There's a game 7. There's no game 8. So this is it. And I just felt like he came out like some burnt chicken, man. Like, what are you doing? You're not bringing any kind of fire to that team. And Joe, I thought it was completely deflating when he missed those 2 free throws early on. It was just a signal that maybe his head isn't completely all in. And that's always been a question with Miles Turner. It's never been about the talent. It's always been about whether or not he can consistently bring the same drive and energy that he does when his offensive game is going, because it wasn't going today. And there's no way, absolutely no way, the Lakers are going to pay $30 million for Miles Turner after he puts up a game 7 like that. There's just no way it's going to happen.
Well, very interesting to see what happens going further, especially with Miles Turner. Can I ask
that's not going to stop Laker Tom from still signing him.
He puts him on every trade. I mean, he's been doing that for 3 years. God, it gets old.
I think
he gets away from Marcus Smart. As long as he gets away from Marcus Smart, he's back on the Marcus Smart kick. Oh, that's so annoying. Why would you even think he's still a starting guard in this league? It's so annoying. But Magic, I want to ask you this, touching on Miles Turner, do you think he's still going to get big money as a UFA either from Indiana or somewhere else?
I don't think so. I think
you think the past couple of games has really hurt him, because he was actually not that good either in Indiana's win as well. He wasn't needed, but he wasn't good at all.
No, he wasn't. But to be fair, a decent center in this league makes around $20 million. The example I use is, Jakob Poeltl. So do you think Miles Turner could get a Jakob Poeltl contract? Yeah, I think he could get $20 million. But there's no way I'm paying anywhere above 25. Those numbers, Gerald, there's no way Miles Turner is worth that to any team, even the Brooklyn Nets with all their cap space. I mean, one of the big issues you got with two guys who could shoot threes at the center position. Oh, three actually, if you want to, like Cat, Miles Turner. You got to wonder, Gerald, sometimes with Triple J and these guys, how much emphasis do they really put on rebounding? Rebounding defense, we know, Gerald, are about effort. And is it there with Miles Turner? I don't see a $30 million player.
I'll ask you this when it comes to Miles Turner. Yeah, like you said, whether or not he has hurt himself. But good question in the chat. Dan Inspiration asked, "What other championship game, guys? This is for anyone out there and as far as in the group here. What other game that had a what if in your guys' opinion? I don't want to say Kendrick Perkins for Game 7 with the Lakers because I still don't think that would have changed anything because it's not like he would have added shooting to this context. Rebounds, of course, defense, of course, but everybody was playing. That's one of the most intense defensive games I've ever seen is Game 7 between the Lakers and Boston. So I want to know exactly is there another potential what if game, Joe? Legend, Sean, do you remember to your memories? Is there another what if game you have in
mind? No, I don't. Sorry, go ahead, Legend. Sorry, I'll answer.
I was going to say I don't think so. I would do go back to that Game 4 though. I feel like that Game 4 decided a lot how this series played out. If Indiana would have won that Game 4,
yeah, but I think as far as a Game 7. I don't remember any Game 7 being like any other Game 7 be like a what if game. What if Tyrese hadn't hurt himself? What if he'd been fully healthy? I don't see any other scenario where there's a finals that was decided on the what if quite like this, Joe.
If Andrew Bogut doesn't get hurt in 2016, there's
good. There you go.
Because if you watch the beginning of that series, no one could get to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he gets out, LeBron was basically doing a layup line. He's not a star, right? He's not the star, although he was a number 1 overall pick. Andrew Bogut getting injured is the unknown to the public player that cost the Warriors the title that year. Everyone blames that schmuck Draymond Green for getting suspended, but he still played in 6 and 7. He just got suspended in Game 5. Warriors were up 3-1. So I don't understand where this, and that was the 8th time he kicked somebody in the nuts. Like at what point are you gonna get a clue? I would have suspended him for the entire series. That's what I would have done. Like, you know what? You're not learning your lesson. Your ass is out. But this game.
I think that's the other what if. I think that's the other.
This game is brutal in that injuries have affected.
Sorry, Legend.
Brutal. The game is brutal. All games are brutal. All sports when players miss because of injury. This isn't the first time these things have happened. And Kendrick Perkins being that's a Doc Rivers thing that got cooked up after the series ended in 2010. That's what happened to the other 3 games that the Lakers whooped their ass and with him on there. I mean, really, you're not gonna. I just did not see the Lakers losing to the Celtics. I didn't see, even though it looked close. I was nervous, but I just never saw Kobe losing a Game 7 at home. Kobe never lost when he led. He just never.
If Bynum would have been healthy, would the Celtics have won in 08?
No. Okay. No. They would have had enough meat up there to probably finish Game 4. They would have tied the series. They would have won Game 5, and then you're sending Kobe to Game 6 to close out a game. Yeah, good luck, Boston. He would have closed that sucker in Boston.
Okay,
but we'll never know.
But I agree. I think the best one is the Draymond Green one. Bogut, you could say as well, but. Sorry, Legend. I know that as a fan. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, the closest, and it's close, but to my memory, and great question, whoever came up with it, because it was jogging my memory. The only other time that you could say a what if moment was in the 1997 Clancy conference finals when the Maple Leafs and Kings were in a game 7. Wayne Gretzky high sticks Doug Gilmour. He's bleeding. The referees don't call it. LA subsequently goes on to beat the Leafs in game 7, and they go on to the Stanley Cup. If the Leafs had won that game, the Maple Leafs would have played the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup.
You're talking about 93, right?
That's what I said, 93.
I thought you said 97.
What about the James Worthy
I
injury?
said 93.
I heard
or
97.
Karl Malone. What about the James Worthy injury or the Karl Malone injury? Because
remember,
the Lakers were so good early in that season. All right, two guys. All right. But what about the Karl Malone injury or the James Worthy injury? Either one of those, could they have affected the outcomes?
So I mean, you could. Joe and others I've heard make good arguments about the Malone injury.
They were so good at the beginning of the season,
especially with the pick and roll. Sure, I think you can make an argument for that. I'm on the fence about it though. I don't feel strongly one way or the other. The Worthy one, and Byron Scott, I don't know. Because we got swept. Like I've never really felt. I never really felt that the Lakers were the stronger team in that series, regardless if Scott and Big Game got hurt.
I remember those series both. If you watch Karl Malone in the San Antonio series, he was a pest against Tim Duncan, and this is at a time when Tim Duncan was at his height and powers. Scott Williams cost us. You could argue Scott Williams falling on Karl Malone cost us a title that year. And then in 91, Worthy and Scott were injured the majority of that series. You have a better shot at winning with those two playing versus not. Whether they win this title is unknown because Michael was very determined that year. But I believe that they probably wouldn't have lost in 5. Maybe they lose in 7. I don't know. But injuries play a huge role, especially in the NBA, and it's more magnified because of the fact that you only have 5 players on the court at a time. There are, if you go to each season, you could probably pick out certain injuries that have cost players probably or teams a chance at probably winning it all, even if it's not in the finals. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, it is. And tonight we saw it. And as soon as that happened, man, that was tough. I didn't think it was Achilles at the time. I thought it was just a further extension of his issues with the calf strain. But man, just seeing how when you push off with your toes, Magic Man. I think Legends will come back with us here in a second. Just when you push off with your toes like that, it sets so much pressure on the rest of the leg that obviously that reminds me of Tatum's. He pushed off with his toes instead of heel toe, which really obviously puts so much pressure and so much torque, so much weight on such a limited area of space. It really it shows that these athletes, when they do that, they run that high risk of tearing those Achilles.
100%, Gerald. And I mean, look that and Gerald specified that the foot injuries, not necessarily isolated to just the Achilles. I mean, you could tear your Achilles.
I thought his calf went
climbing up and down a curb. Yeah, it looked like his calf at first. But I mean, I remember dating a woman who was a classically trained ballerina, Gerald. And I always I asked her, I said, "What does that pain feel like when you're on your toes for like longer than say 30 seconds?" She said, like after about a minute, it almost feels like this shooting pain going right up to the back of your knee and then back down again. So I could just imagine, being Gerald, to their credit, I mean, you got a lot of endorphins and adrenaline running through your body anyway when that happens. And so to be quite honest, it's not as painful as it could be because these guys are high performing athletes. So the amount of adrenaline and endorphins that are just running to the brain at this point, I mean, it could be worse. The injury could be worse. You could be climbing up a curb and you tear your Achilles, and the pain is excruciating. At least in this instance, when you're a high performance athlete, you got the addition of adrenaline, endorphins, dopamine, and a little bit of that lovely morphine, Gerald.
Lovely morphine indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Sean Grice, Joe Soro, and the Legend. Legend, are you still with us? If not, hopefully we'll get you back here real soon. Joe, the season is over now. We can begin the real season that all the Lakers fans care about, and that is the summer of hopefully moves being made, a new ownership in place, more dollars spent on the organization. There's Legend, and I know Legend with his teams, he is looking forward to it now that the summer is here. It started off with the Desmond Bain trade. Indiana made a minor trade of their own, trading about draft picks. But then it led into today's trade, guys, with Kevin Durant being traded to Houston. I'll start off with you first, Legend, now that you're back with us. Your thoughts on the Kevin Durant trade for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, this year's number 10, and 5 second-round draft picks.
Well, it's a start for the Phoenix Suns to dig their way out the situation they got. But to me, a pretty good move for Houston. I kind of thought there was a lot of second-round picks to give for a guy that's almost 37, but I understand, too, what they're trying to do. So I think they got what they need.
Houston's a good team at their Houston's a good team over the next period of time. A lot of those second-round picks will be not that great.
Yeah, I expect one of them second round to probably be kind of bad, since we probably have a weak draft on eventually come back up. But I think they're definitely much better. You got a closer now. You still got Şengün, still got Thomas. You still Thompson. You still good. You kept a lot of your main pieces. I'm definitely okay. I might be one of the few people who didn't mind getting rid of Jalen Green. The inconsistency. I kind of hated they gave up Dylan. I kind of hate to see Dylan go because you love that toughness, but you got to do what you got to do. But I think they're in a good situation. You got a good coach. And I'm thinking with Udoka, you're going to keep everyone together, do what it's that toughness I like about Udoka. They're going to really bring that team together. And I'm hoping that maybe this will be the first team since he was with us that he can actually look in a better situation. Because it's been kind of ugly the last couple of years for him.
Yeah, I still think Phoenix is going to be going to have quite the issues. Do you need a small guard? A shooting guard, excuse me. Do you need a shooting guard, by the way? Because they've got over $160 million invested in the shooting guard position. So, yeah, at Phoenix, all shooting guards, and that's really great going forward. So, Joe, let me ask you this. I really think my opinion is that if Phoenix doesn't hit on that number 10 pick, despite the fact that he's 37 years old, despite the fact that he'll probably be injured half the season, I still think it would be a bad trade if Phoenix doesn't figure out what to do with that 10th pick. And they're upcoming in the draft, Joe.
Well, there's no choice. They had no choice. Really, this was as good of a deal you'll probably get for just to break up whatever's there. This good and bad decisions, sometimes everyone thinks, oh, well, you just got to do this. No, that's not how it works. Who's going to give you what you want? The answer is no one. What you truly want, no one's going to give you shit. So Kevin Durant he's still valuable, and he'll be valuable for Houston either way, if he works or he doesn't. Why? Because he's got one more year left on his contract. So if he acts like a complete asshat because of whatever reason that happens that week, because he's the biggest bitch since he's left OKC. I mean, that's not a joke. That's not me trying to be funny. He has been the biggest whining bitch in the NBA, even worse than LeBron in certain instances. And it's tiring to see a grown ass man like that, especially someone who's supposed to be an all time great, just be a just ornery type player all the time about everything. Look, man, if you want to swear away all your bad pub and all your, detractors, well, then you're probably better off just going somewhere and living in a cabin somewhere. Dude, this is a public business. The pressure is part of the game. It always cracks me up. These assholes who are in these public forums, they get mad when their fans are too aggressive and they're all this and they're all, I'm like, well, you wouldn't be where you are without these people, negative or positive. So get better at avoiding things. Shaq used to say, if I didn't feel like going out that day, I'm not going to go out that day. But if I go out, I already know what's coming. And Shaq can't hide. I know Kevin Garnett can't hide either. He's 7 feet tall. But point is, you have control over that. So Houston gives this a shot. They have a year left. He has a year left on his contract. If he acts like an idiot, they can just not sign him, not extend him. And I don't know if they may be planning to extend him now. I wouldn't. I'd wait a year, but that's me. And then for them, they didn't really give up much. Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, they got out of that big contract. Dylan Brooks has a favorable contract, but that's on a long-term contract they don't have. And they give up the 10th pick in a draft that's probably top-heavy, and everything else is kind of a crapshoot anyways. And then 5 second-round picks. Houston can use that for trades because that's what they do these days with second-round picks. Phoenix is stuck because of Bradley Beal. They can't do shit. That deal is what really killed Phoenix, and there's nothing they can do with Kevin Durant, Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson.
Dan Marley's rolling over at his grave. Look at what Matt Ishbia has
Oliver
done to the
Miller,
Phoenix
who's
Suns.
actually in the grave. None of those guys can make a damn difference until Bradley Beal gets out of there. And just hearing stuff that was going on with Kevin Durant over there, it just never seems to change with this guy. He's a constant nag, and Houston maybe puts a little bit of positiveness in his mind. And for Houston, it's worth the shot because they had a second seed and they blew it, and maybe Durant puts them over the hump a little bit.
It's so funny because I was watching Kevin O'Connor earlier today with this Phoenix insider guy. I didn't know where he was based from, but somewhere related to Phoenix. And he kept stressing how they need to trade Beal. They need to trade Beal, or they need to cut Beal. They need to cut Beal. And I'm thinking to myself, if he's a Phoenix insider, isn't he the first one to know that Beal has a no trade clause? He won't go anywhere unless he wants to. Unless you waive him and eat all that money that's still going to count against your cap going forward. And even if you tried to spread it out over multiple years, Magic Man, it's going to still hurt you especially if you're still over that second tax apron for years to come, Magic Man.
I bet that Phoenix Suns insider would take him about 30 different banks for him to get a second mortgage on the house.
Empire
eat the dead money that he's. Go ahead, Joe.
Empire Jeff had mentioned this on one of his shows, and it's a very true one. He got because Empire Jeff tends to live more of a positive mindset. And I don't, I've known Jeff for a few years. I don't know who he was 10 years ago, but I have a pretty good idea of maybe a little bit hanging around them the last few weeks. But he had mentioned how basketball, quote unquote, and I'm using my bunny ear things, analysts are extremely toxic because they think they know basketball. Most of them don't know their dick from their mouth. They don't know anything about basketball. They just know that the guys are going back and forth trading baskets. So the fact that this idiot said, and somebody needs to tell him he's an idiot, the fact that this idiot says they need to trade him, no shit, asshole. They already tried to trade him last year, and guess what he said? No. That's what the no trade clause means. Oh, and by the way, his contract doesn't end until 2027. You think he's going to turn down $57 million the last year of his deal?
And if they stretch him, that'll go to 2030, Joe.
Right.
Yeah. That would be like that would be like if Sidney Sweeney knocked on this guy's door and said, "Take me upstairs," and he said, "No, I'm not interested."
Phoenix cannot compound what they've made, what mistakes they've made. They gotta wait till 2027. Do not. If I'm the owner, if I'm Ishbia, I am writing this thing out. I am not extending anything. The only way you do that, like how the Lakers, even though it's not as big a contract as this, the only reason why they extended the stretched the Dang contract was because they are competing for a championship. You can't listen to basketball analysts. They don't know anything. By the way, for the best Lakers analysts, please like and
Kurt.
Thanks,
Kurt's
Kurt.
doing his thing. Kurt.
Yeah. So, for the love of God, if Ishbia has a remote intelligence in that mind of his, and I think he does, do not take anything on. Let it ride. Believe me, the fans will be there in 2028. Do not take on any bad contracts. Do not stretch this guy unless you're competing for a championship. Get rid of the contract. You're going to have to wait 2 more seasons, and that's my advice on that. And again, for those who don't know shit about anything, those guys don't get attacked enough. This is not just sports. This is in life. I've had conversations with people so many times where they don't know shit, and that day you just, unfortunately, you were in a bad. You caught me at a bad time where I gave a shit to say something, and then to see the deer in headlights in their eyes, like, dude, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. No one talks to people like that. You don't know shit about what you're talking about. Now, I'm not going to deliberately say it that way, although if he was on the show right now, I would say it like that to him. But if it's somebody that you don't know, usually you're like, look, that's not correct. This is what happened at this date. Because people think they know. People think they know, number one. 1A, they will act like they know so that they can impress. It's very easy to just say, I don't know. What are you trying to impress? No, Mark. No, Mark. No. I'm surprised you said that. No. Look, Jennifer Love Hewitt is a cutie. Don't get me wrong. But no. No, she can't touch Jessica Alba, man.
and Dan's already putting Jessica Alba above Sydney Sweeney, so I know that's going to get like the millennials.
Well, here's the thing with Sydney Sweeney
versus the Gen Z on that one.
Here's the thing with Sydney Sweeney. I finally got a chance to watch that movie. What was it? Anything But You with the Top Gun guy.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen this,
Powell.
so yeah, I heard a lot of good things about the movie. By the way, the movie sucked balls, except for her and that guy. Like, if they had just removed every other idiot that was in that movie, the movie actually would have been good. But the thing with Sweeney that I've noticed is she knows how to hit her marks. Doesn't matter if it's a
good actress. I know people just like they see the aesthetics, but
that's the point. She knows how
really
to hit her marks in those areas. She's very
charismatic. Here's what Joe's saying. You fake it until you make it. Even if you don't like doing what you're doing, you fake it for everybody because it makes you look authentic.
You're talking about movies? That's fine. But I'm just talking about persona.
Don't
fake it in front of me. If you're bullshitting me with some sports shit, you're gonna get called out.
Okay. Then I'll do that right now. Joe, the Phoenix Suns are going to be the best 3-point shooting team in the history of the NBA, especially with Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen.
Boy, really
my God.
That's a prediction. That's not something that's
shut up. All right.
I'll kick you in your face.
Shut up.
Let's get back to
Gerald. I mean, this trade says more about what Houston sees in Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore than it does about Green. Green was not a number 2, and I don't even think he's a number 3 option on a very good team. He's a bad shooter, Gerald. He's the definition of what we call a chucker.
Yes, he is.
When you're averaging like between 18 and 22 points in the NBA, but I'm looking at your shot attempts and they're in the mid-20s, and we're not getting to the free throw line more than maybe 4 or 5, 6 times a game, you're the definition of a chucker. And I mean, Gerald, do you remember that one year when Detroit had like 12 or 13 like power forwards. They had Will Bynum, another guard, I forget. They had like 11 or 12 power forward. This Phoenix Suns team has like 14 guards and one center now.
Dylan Brooks is their power forward now.
He's going to be their power forward.
That's the problem right there. And a guy like Jalen Wells, who had a pretty good rookie season, who has some possible potential, where's he going to play? Because, what's going on with the fact that you've got 3 shooting guards that all need time. Devin Booker's your point guard again. Oh, that's a mistake. Yeah. Go ahead, Legend. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, who they point guard?
That's the problem right there. That's another problem.
And Gerald, this also opens up the Rockets offensively, because now Jabari Smith is a 3. He's not really a 4. So this allows KD to play the 4 down the stretch with Houston and Şengün at the 5. Now, when you, to get back to Joe's point, Houston's going to extend Freddie VanVleet before they extend KD. Freddie VanVleet's been there from the jump from this team when they were rebuilding, and he's helped them come in one of the premier teams in the NBA. So they're going to re-sign Freddie before they re-sign KD. I mean, Udoka's made that very clear. He sees Freddie as a leader on this team, Gerald. And now I think they needed a little bit of more vets in there, man. They don't have a lot of them. Steven Adams is 31. Aaron Holiday, but Aaron Holiday hasn't really been in the trenches the way Steven Adams and Freddie VanVleet have. So bringing in that guy into the locker room, I don't think he causes – like, I don't think he's going to be a shit disturber. I'm sorry. He's played with Steven Adams before. Adams and Freddie VanVleet have a good pulse check on the locker room. It goes to them. They're the team leaders. So I think KD would just fit like a glove, honestly, Gerald.
Well, I think comes down to with OKC and Houston, both their weaknesses are in the half-court offense. So KD is being brought into Houston to help, facilitate some of that half-court offense, especially in the clutch moments, in the clutch minutes. So if he does that, if anything, he gives you 20 to 25 a game in the clutch minutes or in the half-court offense. That's what he can do. And he's a very underrated passer. I think that if you've not seen him play like I have, and you really got to make sure that you check out his passing, because he's actually a very underrated passing. Obviously not the best part of his game, but it's something that he has developed over the many years that he's been in the league. And again, in that offense, it could be something special if he stays healthy. But, as we've seen, that's been hard for him to do. But he's now in the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets didn't have to give up some great assets. But we're coming now to the Lakers and also the rest of the league. Legend, I'll bring it back to you. Again, I know we've asked you this a couple times before, but seeing how the trades are starting to fall down, they're starting to come around, they're starting to go ahead and be executed. Wednesday is the draft. Do you see a lot more activity, and who do you see it from if that's the case before Wednesday?
I wouldn't be surprised we start seeing other teams begin making their moves now that KD's been moved. And I am curious to see what will the Spurs do with that second pick. Just curious to see what they end up doing on their end. I'm going to assume at this point, now with Indiana dealing with their injury, I'm going to assume Giannis is going to stay with the Bucks and see what happens.
You don't see him going to management, even though now would be the best time for him to go to management and say, I want to be traded. If he says it in July or August, it doesn't have the same kind of impact. You can't get the same kind of haul if you're Milwaukee. So they're hoping beyond all hope that if he says he wants to move, Legend, he wants to move. Hopefully he'll decide to tomorrow or Tuesday.
I'm thinking if he's going to do it, he will go and say it by now. And I would think the best trade package is going to be the Spurs at this point. They got the second overall pick, so you can't beat that. You cannot beat that right now. And then you have a chance to partner up with Wemby, Castle. Well, I don't know if Castle might be involved in that trade too. but you still got De'Aaron Fox coming back. So this will be the time to ask for it. But I am curious to know if he's gonna want to do it now that knowing the East is so wide open at this point that it's just open ball game now. So I am curious to see what they do.
I'm almost convinced now, Gerald, that the Spurs will not try to. I'm with Legend here. I think the Spurs stand pat. They'll take Harper number 2. You put Harper, Castle, Foxy together. Oh boy, with Wemby, you're
Defensively,
talking.
yeah, but ask them to shoot 3-pointers, Magic. That's the problem.
It takes a couple of years, Cheryl. We just seen it with the Thunder and the Pacers. It takes a little while with these young bucks. But I mean, Gerald, would you trade maybe a 10 to 12 year starter in Harper for possibly competing for a championship with Giannis and Wemby, but you don't know?
Well, no, I would go personally and trade De'Aaron Fox. I think you have 3 ill-fitting guards that all do around the same thing. Yes, I know De'Aaron Fox is lightning quick, et cetera, but we have not seen him develop an outside consistent shot that could be utilized well in the playoffs. Yes, we've seen him in clutch moments in regular season games, but we haven't seen him progress far in the playoffs at all. So you're worried about exactly when you get there, can he be schemed on like we're seeing some of the players so far in this playoff run? I would think because you have 3 players with similar attributes to each other, especially shooting wise, I would go with the young backcourt and try to develop them with Wemby from there. They're all on the same timeline. De'Aaron Fox is not on the same timeline because he's 5 years older, 6 years older than these guys are. I would go ahead and see what I can utilize for his salary and see what I can build around that as far as getting some shooting with him, even if it doesn't mean Giannis. I really would like to see them utilize De'Aaron Fox in a trade. I understand that they traded for him, but they also didn't think they were getting the second pick in the draft either.
And Gerald, I hate to think this, but I just have to because I've been watching this game for a really long time, and you and I both kind of have a similar wavelength here. Would you not be surprised at all, if a third team got involved and they found out the Lakers were trying to make a move? Oh, you're trying to move Dalton Connect? Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. The Spurs or the Nuggets or some other. You never know. It might be the Pacers sneaking in.
Dalton would be great.
We'll take Dalton Connect off your
Dalton
hands.
works there because there's so much defense surrounding him. The problem with the Lakers is he has a hard time staying out there because there's not a whole lot of consistent defense that's around him when he's out there, which makes it problematic, and he sticks out like a sore thumb defensively. Joe, let me bring it back to you. Do you think the activity we've seen so far is going to lead to a lot more trades, a lot more activity? And who do you think is going to be bringing that about?
I think the Lakers are going to be. Lakers have to win a title or contend for a title this next year. And the new ownership, I don't know necessarily where their mindset is right now on what they want to do this year, but I have a pretty good guess based off of past business that they've done with my other favorite team. They're going to marinate a little bit. They're going to do their best to put the best team forward. So I'll give you a little history lesson. So the Dodgers were purchased by Mark Walter, not Walters. I kept saying Walters in our last broadcast, and I wanted to punch myself in the face. Mark Walter and the Guggenheims were still winning the moment they got there. They actually, in a couple plays here and there, they probably should have won in 13 and 14, but that's more of a baseball thing. Baseball can turn on one bad no call on a strike or one bad home run allowance from the opposing team. So they immediately were winning and competing, and were not just competing to get in the playoffs, they're competing for championships. And then as year one and year two started to progress, they started putting together the tools and the mechanics of the behind the scenes operation, which that's the part that we discuss with others about on how masterful they are. There's no salary cap in who they hire as a coach, an executive, or who they put in the analytical department. Like you're going to get state of the art business now. You're not going to have Genie with closets with a couple of tube TVs in there and a remote that says fast forward and rewind, and that's it. You're not going to have that anymore. Now you're going to actually have stuff that's 2025, not 1925, right? And as that progresses, the team is going to start getting used to that kind of preparation. Now, you guys know where I stand on LeBron James. LeBron James dominates the atmosphere too much. In my view, and I'm pretty sure common sense view, in terms of Luka being the guy. Luka is the future. The quicker this team gets to Luka being the guy without distraction, the easier it will be to get the second guy to come play with Luka, or at least the 1A or the 1-1, and then develop the team around that duo, because I don't think you're going to be able to put together a team anymore with more than two superstars unless you get really lucky and you draft somebody that ends up being the third guy, right? And that's kind of how I see it playing out. And I see maybe one last shot for LeBron to win a title. So they're going to do everything they can to try to get some kind of trade, either if they're facilitating something where they can get something, or if they're a part of the main primary, secondary trade areas, and seeing if they can, number one. And by the way, again, I've heard that they've made an offer for Kessler to Utah. I've heard that. I just don't know if it's 100% true because Shams hasn't said it, or Zach Lowe hasn't said it, or that pipsqueak in Toronto, Sean Price, hasn't
It's
said
safe
it.
to say that they're
he allegedly said what he said.
But I'm going to say with Joe, it's common sense, Magic Man. I'm sure that Ainge has already fielded a ton of calls already on Walker Kessler because of his price right now, because he hasn't been extended as of yet. I have a feeling that a lot of teams besides the Lakers have called already to Danny Ainge on the golf course about Walker Kessler already. I know the first message we got today before we went on the air, I forget who did it. Okay, it was Kenneth Lazaro TV. I want to see Lauri Markkanen in a Lakers uniform. That's where you go wrong. I am sorry.
Said that?
Kenneth Lazaro. He said it before you were even on the air. And I was like, why
the hell would you want Lauri Markkanen on this team making $80 million a year?
That's
for the
a
next
bad
50 years.
contract. Yeah, that's a bad
It sounds like that guy from Phoenix.
Yeah, and as much as I like Walker Kessler, Joe, and Legend and Magic Man, if Danny is tying Lauri Markkanen to it, I'm walking.
No, you're not getting two centers. That's stupid. I don't even know. There's no way that's happening unless you're dumb. No, the Lakers are gonna ask. That's what you have to do.
Joe. You know, there are a lot of dumb executives in the NBA.
True, but getting two centers in a trade.
Well, I mean, you know, we did see the Orlando Magic do that once upon a time.
Okay, so here's how I see this playing out. The Lakers are going to make offers to guys that they want. If they get them, they can. If not, they'll do their best to get everything set as well as they can for the 2026 season. And then my assessment after 2026, it's going to be the same today. It's going to be the same in May. I'm sorry, in September, in November, in February. It doesn't matter. You win a championship next year, then you can sit down and talk with LeBron. If you don't win a championship, if you end up bowing out again in the first or second round, it's time to move on. I don't care about LeBron's legacy. I don't give a shit about his stats. I don't care what we were before 2018. Numbskulls. It doesn't fucking matter. It's 2025. We're going now officially tomorrow to 2026. I give a shit about Title 19 so we can pass those green turds. And if LeBron can't do that, he needs to go. And for those of you who don't think Luka's going to be anything, good for you. Stick it up your ass and wait. And then when it really, really happens, then you can shit it out and eat it, because that's what's going to happen. I am not going to waste time talking about stupid shit. It's about winning championships. And the Lakers just had the biggest acquisition since Jerry Buss in 1979. That's a big one, okay? Mark Walter and the Guggenheims are legit, and they're going to make this team a perennial championship contender. They just need a few years to put it together. Sit back, enjoy it, and Luka Doncic is going to be a major part in that. It's going to taste better than whatever the hell Sean's eating right now, too.
You're gonna Legend. Let me bring it back to you. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Actually, closing out a weekend here for Lakers weekend for us. The free agent market is not going to be a good free agent year, just by the sheer number of players that are available, and also the teams with cap space that's not available out there. I watched a CBS Sports special the other day. I mean, the CBS Sports HQ, they're doing like shorts all the time, 8 to 15 minutes long. One of them they did on potential free agents, and who did they have on the front? Man, it was flashback to like 2013 or something. Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook as the marquee free agents, based on how things may break out between Julius Randle, probably only be able to getting the money from Minnesota. Same thing with Miles Turner, most likely, unless Brooklyn does something, being able to be re-signed by Indiana. They had them out in forefront, and I'm like, that's how bad it is. That's where we're at. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, best that may happen, maybe a sign and trade for him. Yeah. It does not look like it's going to be a good summer for free agency. So what else choice do you have to improve your team in a year where I think it's viably up for grabs this season? You've got to go ahead and look for some trades.
That's going to be the best option, because there's really not much out there to pick from, and just where a lot of teams are in the second apron too and not trying to move that much, trading is going to be the complete best option to go at this point. And just going to have to sit down and really put the negotiation skills to the test and get the best you can get, because that's going to be the best thing to do at this point, unless you're lucky enough to be like Oklahoma and got a bunch of first-round picks that's in there.
I want no part of Chris Paul. I don't care. I would rather leave that backup point guard spot open. And Joe and Sean, I know Joe is stressed on the Chris Paul trade in 2012 for a number of years now. Daniel Stern and all that. But sorry, this isn't 2012. This is 13 years later. I do not want Chris Paul on this team. He does not help your answer. Between him and LeBron on the same court at the same time, that's 80 years plus sitting on the court. That's something we don't need. We need to look at other viable places, and Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul are not one of them. Backup point guard is something that we need to improve upon, but there are other things first we need to address even more.
100%, Gerald. 100%. And quite
I just thought it was sad by CBS Sports when they were doing it. And they actually had the audacity to put those guys on the splash page, and they're just like, that's where we're at with NBA free agency. Man,
yeah, it seems like CBS Sports is known for their trolling at times. I'm just wondering if that was more of a troll job on those two guys. So. Yeah,
but it also might be a reality check on what's available, man.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, look at last year, Gerald. Like, for example, last year, who was the best free agent signing in your opinion?
Last year, best free agent signing. I'd say Hartenstein.
I would say Isaiah Hartenstein. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this is going to be the second year in a row where it's slim pickings. All due respect to Hartenstein, he was great for the Thunder. Yeah, he's great, but we're not talking about stars here. We're talking about excellent role players, and that's what CP3 and Russell Westbrook are at this point, role players. And the Lakers don't need role players. They need superstars, stars, guys who play on both ends of the court, can do different, versatile things, especially defensively with a guy with Luka and LeBron on the floor. So we do not have room for role players anymore. We have enough of them.
I know, Joe, you did say allegedly, but again, common sense says that they've already made that call to Danny Ainge.
One Stockton, hold on, Joe. One Stockton, Alex Caruso was acquired in a trade with the OKC Thunder. They didn't acquire him through free agency. They traded for him.
Yeah, for Josh Giddey. That's what he was saying. We were talking about free agency one, not saying who was more impactful, because obviously we would agree about Caruso. But Hartenstein of the free agents last year was probably one of the best free agent acquisitions. I think that's the case. So, Joe, Legend. Okay. I will see you on Tuesday then, Legend. I know you're going to head on out. I know it's very late for you. Catch I Got Next Sports Media. But Tuesday, 8 p.m. your time, 5 p.m. ours. I'm going to send out email. Look for it tomorrow morning. I'm going to be sending that out to you as far as what's up ahead for the NBA GMs for our NBA mock draft show. But good having you here, Legend.
You guys have a good rest of y'all night.
You too, my friend. You too. Joe, let me bring it back to you. I know one player you had mentioned repeatedly as far as that may fill up the center position as far as the issue is concerned is DeAndre Ayton. I know that's been a source of talk, for lack of a better term, in our chat. Some like it, some really don't like it. And again, I think that's pretty much what you're saying about his entire career. You like what you see sometimes, and you don't like what you see sometimes. But if you were to create a package where you were getting DeAndre Ayton and a first from Portland for Austin Reeves, does that make things a little bit easier for the Lakers to go ahead and swallow?
No.
Why so? Why not?
Because you're losing depth. Now
you're getting two players for one.
No, you're getting a rookie, which right now isn't going to solve any of your problems. A rookie in the NBA is, in most of the 95% of the time, useless in year one. This team is
not
going to
even
try
a top 15 pick like that.
No, it's not going to matter. Especially in a draft like this, there's just not a lot of talent outside the. I don't even know if it's even. It's a crapshoot after Cooper Flag, in my view. But anyways, the Lakers cannot lose depth if they want to try and win this year. I will admit nothing because it's too early. Let the careers finish.
I love how they make these profiles.
Why do you want to make an assessment on a fucking career when the guys are 26? You know, Magic didn't win his first MVP until 8 seasons after he played his first game. Bird won 3 MVPs before Magic won 1. Are we saying Bird is better than Magic? You were probably sitting there jerking off. Yeah, Bird has 3 MVPs. Well, 4 years later, Magic had 3 MVPs. Oh, and Magic also had 5 championships with 3 finals MVPs. Let the career finish. And don't pull this bullshit with me trying to get all, well, you said that Jordan is better because he's 6-0 and LeBron is blah, blah, blah. Those careers are done, basically, of course. Plus, there's more in-depth information on that, too. You're going to pick LeBron in big moments over Jordan? Yeah, okay. Anyways, back to the subject. DeAndre Ayton is a realistic option. It's not the best option, but it's a realistic option, and he would serve a purpose. Whether he has the motor to do it or not is irrelevant. Plus, his contract is friendly. He's going to play one more year after this, and if he sucks ass, then it's an expiring contract at that point. The Lakers don't have a lot of choice here. They don't have a lot of money to put towards somebody of any kind of relevance. So this team has to. That's why the Kessler thing makes the most sense, because they have the ability to get him because of his contract and not give up the depth. If you're going to trade one of your mainstays, and yes, Austin had a bad playoff, but he's still very valuable to this team. So is Rui. If you're going to lose those guys, you have to get somebody that is a massive difference maker. Otherwise, you're losing depth. You're just exchanging. Now the center position's filled, but now you don't have a two guard, or at least somebody that's really good coming off the bench. So that's what is at stake here. The Lakers have to investigate every possible avenue to get two players in two areas that they need without giving up the depth, if they are to have any shot of winning a championship in 2026. That has to be the first focus, and I believe it is their focus. If it doesn't work out, then they have to take some risks, and that's understandable.
Shout out to Felix in the chat that's on Facebook. Truly appreciate you joining us there. It is the Lakers Fast Break. To answer your question, Dan, earlier, yes, I would include Sean, and I want to get you.
I know that fucker's somebody I know. That's why I went off on him.
No worries. Yeah, he wanted some other thoughts, but no political stuff here. I want to keep far away. We're here to talk sports and enjoy ourselves.
I prefer the Q over the N.
There you go. Okay. Be that as it may. Magic Man. DeAndre Ayton, again, that may be the best one. If you cannot get into the Kessler sweepstakes, I'm trying to ignore that, Sean. I'm trying my best. When it comes right there, I want to go ahead and say that I would consider it. If you're able to do a package where you've got Reeves, 2 expirings, and also as well Vando, 4 Williams, Ayton, and a first, this year's first. Unlike Joe, I think you get more depth out of this trade. I think if you get to pick the right rookie in that lottery area, I still think you can get a rookie that can make an impact. And I think it would ultimately be a better trade for the Lakers than what Portland would be getting back. But the allure of Austin Reeves guiding that young team may be something that Portland might want to look into if they want to get better sooner rather than later.
100%, Gerald. Now, I'm lukewarm about that idea about Ayton. I'm not totally against it. Yeah,
it's not great, but I just did the numbers.
Yeah,
if you're getting Williams and Ayton, it would take Austin, the 2 expirings, and Vando. That gets you close enough in the Lakers' favor as far as within $1 million, and it would be in the Lakers' favor, so their salary cap will reduce just a little bit as well.
Okay. All right. So I mean that's not bad actually. And Gerald, I think I'm with you. I'm also with you on the either or idea with Reeves. So the either or is when you're talking to a team and discussing a Reeves trade, it's centered around Reeves, and either you take back Vando or you give us back a first round pick. It's up to you. We'll let you decide. But it's an either or, because if you want Austin Reeves, you have to swallow Vando, and maybe you only swallow him for a year because he really only has 2 years left on the deal. And that first round pick, depending on where it is, I mean, it's cost effective, no matter. And to be fair, I heard that criticism about the NBA draft from our colleague. I will say that this is. I'll go back to what I said on the chat. When it comes to plug and play, don't look at don't look at baseball and basketball for plug and play players in the draft. Just don't look for them. They take time to develop. It's not like hockey and football where a 19 or 21-year-old you can plug them in and they can instantly give you impact. It takes time. It takes time in these two sports.
The only way you would do it is if you're totally set on Klingon starting. Klingon needs to start.
He needs to start.
He needs to start. And then again, how much can you really trust Robert Williams to get through an entire season? That's why you may pawn him off.
Gerald, you can't even trust him to get up out of bed for practice. That's how he got the name Time Lord.
But if the Lakers, if Portland does really become set on another player similar to what they see already in Denny Advia, it could be just something there. Again, Joe's mentioned it as far as just his name out there. That may be one of the few options that we have, guys, because simple fact is that there are not a whole lot of great options out there at the center position. You don't think Golden State is trying the same thing with Danny Ainge? You don't think that there are other teams out there that want their hands if they know that Walter Kessler can be gotten? I mean, Joe, there's going to be a lot of teams that are after that player right there in Walker Kessler. It's who is not being marketed as such that might be more interesting or might be more gettable to the Lakers. Jakob Poeltl in Toronto. That's another name that's been out there mentioned as possibly on the move. Mark Williams, I don't think you go back to that deal with Charlotte. I'm sorry to say, but the Lakers have to go ahead and shore up some big man help somehow. And I don't think the 5.6 MLE is going to get it done.
No, it's not, Gerald.
Joe?
I saw someone post, I can't remember where it was. Someone posted Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the MLE, and the Lakers somehow brokering the Kessler deal. If they were able to do that
would be
remember I told you guys a guard that's got athleticism and can get to the basket and shoot a little bit, right? And he's and NAW is I
think Grimes is more gettable, Joe. I think Grimes is more gettable.
He's still improving. And Sean had mentioned him too during the Minnesota series. If you can get those two guys without giving up Rui and Austin, you will have a chance now to go in the next season, especially with Luka fresh and underway in his Laker career, whereas last year he was still kind of all over the place. And then we can cross our fingers and hope that LeBron can make it through another year. You have a chance now. You have a chance now to have spots that you needed filled. You still have the continuity. You have another year of JJ Redick with another training camp, another summer. Maybe you get lucky and you draft somebody in the second round that maybe has some kind of value, or you pick up another free agent that has some value because they've been able to do that here the last, 7-8 years. Those all could play into this. That's my first thoughts on that. I want them to somehow figure out a way to get those spots filled without having to trade their guys, so that they can have the depth and have the continuity with the new guys. And then let's see what these guys are made of when they have the full arsenal.
Do you agree with that, Magic? Again, because I still think this nucleus needs to be tweaked. I think, again, Austin is repetitive in the postseason. I just don't think he can give you what you need defensively. Joe and I have even come to an agreement that we think he's best on the championship run as a sixth man, which at this point he does not want to do because financially it would impact his value going forward. So I think ultimately I am very worried that the Lakers will lose him for nothing. I understand that the Lakers can negotiate a contract extension. He might sign it just because he's given the Lakers a hometown discount. I wouldn't put it totally out of realm, but if I'm his agent, it's financially against his better judgment to do so, because of if he has another 25-5 season, similar to what we saw this season, he could become a free agent and get the kind of money I think he's looking for.
He'd be on a high. Okay, so he'd be on a higher trajectory at that point, Gerald, than Tyler Hero was. And Tyler Hero got his huge contract before he was even an all-star. He's just the sixth man of the year. So if Reeves does have a year like that, yeah, he's going the hero route. He's trying to get his 30 a year on the market, 100%. And if you do have a season like that, given the climate, the landscape, and the movement that we're in the NBA, he's definitely an all-star. I don't think he's starting on that all-star team, but he's definitely on there. And that projects even more money into the agent's pocket, Gerald. So I'm with you. If I was the agent, I'd be completely motivating Austin in the summer by letting him know, the Lakers want you to sign that contract extension so they could save some money and still get some cheap labor out of you. Whereas if we hold off, if we wait, and this is what you pay me to do, we could get more money in the open market.
Absolutely. And he's only got one chance with his age. He's only got one chance to get a big fat 3 to 5 year contract, Joe. That's why I'm worried about him walking at the end of this year. If the Lakers don't do anything to go ahead and utilize him in a trade now or at the trade deadline, there is the very real possibility they could lose him, because you even said in your comments, I believe it was here or WhatsApp, that if he's offered 30 million or more, the Lakers might not be willing to match. Not that they can't, because if LeBron is off there, they'll have cap space. They might not be willing to match at 30, 35, 40 million dollars.
I don't give a shit if he leaves.
For nothing.
Yeah, the Lakers will have cap space if he does. This is different than 2 years ago when we were hoping that they would sign D'Angelo Russell. It's different. It's just it doesn't matter at this point. There's so many things that have happened here in the last 6 months that should dictate exactly where the path leads. The path leads right now, as of today, as of a few days ago, the Lakers are going to put together a championship team very, very shortly. There's a small chance that they could do something this next year. It's not likely, but there's a chance. After that, it's going to be assembling time for the duration. And I have zero worry with who's in control right now. Zero worry that they're not going to not put something together. And if you're going to sit there and worry about Austin Reeves leaving, this happened the last time he signed an extension. You had a bunch of Lakers schmuckies sitting there going, you better pay Austin $25 million a year. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he got paid $14 million a year. They're sitting there worried about Popovich saying, oh, Popovich is going to steal Austin Reeves from the Lakers. I don't even know if Austin Reeves knows who the hell Austin Reeves is.
Okay.
So, I don't know what the worry is. Austin Reeves is a nice player, fine player, very happy to have him on the team. But y'all act like he's some kind of difference maker at the next level. He's not. And you got to pay attention to the contracts. Have you guys looked at what the contracts look like after 2026? The Lakers are going to have $120 million. I know it's going to change. They have $120 million to spend after that. So should he leave? Who gives a shit? The Lakers are in good hands. They're gonna bring in the right players, whether Austin Reeves is here or not. Whether they got to trade Austin Reeves or not, or whether they got to let him go. So sit back and enjoy the ride. That's my button on the night.
You forgot your briefcase.
Yes, you forgot your briefcase, indeed.
You
I know
forgot your
who that.
briefcase.
I know who
You
that.
forgot your briefcase.
I know who that dick skin is. By the way,
Fair enough. It is the Lakers fast break. Before we had announced, since
What a waste of
Joe's put
blood
a
you
button-
are, whoever you were.
Joe has put a button on it. Magic Man, again, I still think the Lakers have got to be active this summer. And I'm hoping that they will go ahead and make the right moves with what few assets they have. I do think that there is talent that can be had in this draft. It doesn't have to necessarily be at the top. There is some talent I think that's available. I know that earlier today, Stone said as much. There is beauty in the eye of the beholder in certain spots. It's not a great draft by any stretch of the imagination, but isn't as bereft as last year's draft. I think there is some talent that might be available that can help rotation sooner rather than later. But your thoughts, my friend, as you and I will go ahead and look towards, unless anything pops up tomorrow night, our mock draft on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Well, you know me, Gerald. I've used this analogy with you since probably since the time we both started together. I enjoy going to the wreckers, Gerald, the wrecker yard, and every once in a while you find something in there that's $50, $60, but you only pay $4 for it. That's what I'm looking for in this draft from the Lakers. We only have so much to spend, and we're going into the wreckers yard. You got to find that diamond in the rough.
Absolutely. So we will see if the Lakers can find that diamond in the rough. I know in following years, the Lakers organization will be beefed up, especially in the scouting department. So I look forward to even more detailed scouting for the Lakers in the coming years. But hopefully, with what they have now, we'll get the job done over the next few days. But we will see. Monday, if there's anything going down in the NBA,
Oh,
go ahead and stop on by.
And before we head on out, Gerald, we're going to hold Joe to he allegedly said what he said.
Allegedly, indeed.
to friends of ours.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I was like surprised that
Only
that
someone
Joe, of all people, would say
in
that.
the depths of something that we're talking about would ever know what that is. That no one knows what the hell we're talking about, but I do. That
Allegedly.
There's a really good
All right.
clip of Michael Francis, former Colombo capo. He dissected that scene. He goes, there's no chance that any of those guys would be able to bring a sit down like that without basically saying, you need to tell us who the hell said this, otherwise you're gonna get clipped. Oh man, that's pretty funny.
Well, with that, it is the Lakers fast break. Follow Joe Soro. I think
Gerald
he's
has
going to
no
have
clue what the hell we're talking about either.
Yes, I do. I know where you guys, you two always go into the certain specific shows and movies. Always to a T. And I have seen my share of them as well. Although I'm not as big a Sopranos fan as you guys are. Some of it is really, really good. I just wished it had ended on a better note. That's all I'll say. Again, you could probably say that about 100, 200, 300 shows that have been on TV for any length of time. I wish it could have ended on a better note.
So Gerald, I haven't seen a pop culture cosmos where you rank the best endings to television series. So what would be your number one?
That is a good. I think MASH. MASH would be number one in my opinion. I haven't. Again, there are shows now that are concurrently going that still have yet to be. I think Andor for this year as a reference. Andor this year ended on a pretty good note. I think it stuck the landing. I think there was really its high of high was during the middle of the season. If people know what I'm talking about. But it stuck the landing pretty well. So we'll see. But that one is done, finito for all intents and purposes, because it led into Rogue One. So that one can't do more. But I would probably say MASH. If any long time series, MASH Cheers, I think, also ended on a pretty good note as well. But like for instance, Sopranos, Game of Thrones, even Succession, a lot of those had left a bad taste in the viewers. If any large portion of the audience has a bad taste left in their mouths, that's not closing your show on a good note. So we'll see. Stranger Things is upcoming. I want to see how they've had multiple years to go ahead and work up an ending for this series, for this show. I want to see if by the end of the year they will really stick the landing. I'm not convinced that they will, but we will definitely wait and see. But
there's been
Joe
a lot of people on the show that are actors are dreading the show. They can't wait for it to finish. So that's a bad sign.
Those teenagers, they start out as teenagers. Now they're like in 30. They're 30 almost. That tells you right there. I mean, they've worked on the show close to 10 years, 8 to 10 years, I think, when it comes right down to it. It's only fifth season. So yeah, we'll wait and see how that works out. Then again, they did have COVID. They did have the writer's strike. So they've had their bumps in the road, just like a lot of these other shows. But again, we will wait and see how that, or if it can stick the landing. But of this year, I think Andor has had the best series ending of any series so far. So again, that's my 2 cents. If you guys have your 2 cents, put in the comments below. Also, our thoughts on possible trade targets. And then remember, our GMs will start going to work tomorrow to work out some trades, possible trade options, and trade completions may be done by the time we go on air at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Yeah,
Get ready for breaking news.
Yes.
I'm Walter Cronkite.
Yes. But speaking of which, Walter Cronkite himself, Joe Soro, will be on tomorrow, he said.
I always wanted to be called Walter.
Yes. Well, there you go. Walter, will you be on tomorrow night for sure? You mentioned that you might be.
No, I will be on The Experiment without stupid jerk-offs with my name on their whatever the hell.
That's what I meant. You're going to be on your channel.
Yeah, I just said it.
But you said no. All right, never mind. It's like dealing with a child.
No,
sometime.
what?
Yes.
I said yes.
Allegedly.
Turn up your volume.
Allegedly, he'll be on tomorrow.
Allegedly, he said no. But he thought no on this channel. But yes, he'll be on his channel, the Joe Soro Experiment. Allegedly. Tomorrow.
Allegedly, there'll be a murder in Toronto tonight.
Juan, Game of Thrones. I can't be there with you. That ending, that last. Check out the Cosmos. How Josh and
Gerald,
I just absolutely could not stand the ending to Game of Thrones. Absolutely, just terrible.
Gerald, do you
just
remember?
Such a great show too.
Do you remember the first episode from the television series The Watchmen?
I do.
Okay.
I do. The HBO series. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Regina King. Absolutely outstanding.
Gerald, do you think I could lift 290 pounds?
you were allegedly pissed off. I think you could. Pissed off with the adrenaline flowing. Who knows? Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Was that?
I want to know if this game.
Yes, because a form of mesmerism can have me lift a 290-pound irritable oaf.
I just want to know if this game is going to go down. You guys can come to
278, by the way.
Well,
278 irritable oaf.
As of this morning.
278 allegedly irritable oaf.
No, it's not allegedly. It's actually true.
No, according to your scale,
I have
allegedly.
the stats. I have the stats in the time when I took it.
Yes, we know you are an irritable oaf.
I'm not irritable. I'm just.
You are. You're very irritable.
I'm not irritable. I'm just.
You are. You're very
irritable. Is someone who gets up and is irritable. I get up and I'm like this 24/7.
I want to know is
who I am.
Are you and John Costa coming to Las Vegas during Summer League to go ahead on that one-on-one?
You want me to go to Vegas in the busiest season of my business?
You challenged John. John challenged
He
you.
challenged me and said, "Meet me
Okay.
in Vegas." How the hell am I going to get to Vegas in the summer when I've got?
Well, you already
45-minute
you already bailed on him once. You might as well bail on him again.
45-minute
I never
flight.
said I was going to Vegas this summer.
Allegedly.
I'll go in September, October.
I'll have to let him know. I'll let him know on Tuesday.
I can let him know. I'm not a child.
Okay. All right.
Let him know.
Allegedly. 47-year-old grown man with breasts. That's how God sees you, Sorrow.
Yeah, I don't have breasts.
You do. We all do.
You have a quaff
On that note,
under your waist.
allegedly, this is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrow. Catch the Joe Sorrow Experiment on the Joe Sorrow channel tomorrow. And then Magic Man and I will be back on Tuesday for the NBA mock draft, unless something breaks down tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see you here on Tuesday. And don't forget Joe Sorrow tomorrow night. Thank you again for joining us. Please like and subscribe on the way out. And make sure you stay with us for all the good stuff, all the good shows, and all the good things we do, allegedly, right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Suck it.
Allegedly. Suck it. You allegedly suck it.
No,
Shut
you
up,
suck
Joe. Allegedly.
Dan, 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 dan. Gerald, I hope you walk tonight in the dark and you trip over something and fall on your face.
You first, Joe. You first.
I don't walk in the dark. I turn the lights on.
Joe, how's